So checking out the Bitcoin active addresses. I made a video on this last week. We were round about here where we had about 1 million active addresses at that moment in time. The price necessarily hasn't changed. You can actually see we've pretty much been going sideways on the price. But what is interesting is we've just had a confirmed golden cross where this is where the 50 moving average moves above the long-term moving average. We're using the 200, so the 50-day moving average crosses the 200. We back tested it, and you can see that we're very clearly holding up right now. So why is this important that we're having a bullish cross, or as they call a golden cross, over on the Bitcoin active address as well? First of all, let's define it quickly. So Glassnode defines the active addresses as the number of unique Bitcoin addresses that were active in the network either as a sender or receiver. Why is this important? Why does it matter that the active addresses are going up? Well, if we look at the bottom of the screen here, you can see we have the BTC USD chart. And what you'll notice is, I'll overlay them in a second, but I just want to make it nice and clear cut for this example. But you can see the active addresses had a major spike from September of 2017 all the way up to Bitcoin's all-time high in December 2017. You had a massive run up, and what you'll notice is right here where I've highlighted with this circle, if you look down, you can see this was the exact top on the Bitcoin price in 2017. So it makes sense, but I'll explain why in a second. You can also see active addresses spike in June 2019. We have a big old spike here. The price was moving up into that, but as the active addresses spike and start to move down, you can see the price kind of starts to curve down until we have another upswing. We've got a big uptrend of active addresses. Once again, this tops out perfectly, creating a lovely double top scenario from over on this chart here. And you can see literally as the active addresses are peaking on the 26th of April, this is literally the week before Bitcoin capitulated from its all-time high in 2021. Now, it did come out to the end of 2021 and put in a new all-time high around about 69,000. This was approximately around the 8th of November. And once again, what do you notice? The active addresses move down, the Bitcoin price moves down, active addresses start to move up again, and we top out. Active addresses top, Bitcoin price tops. Quite recently as well, we had a minor spike down here. It seemed a lot more euphoric at the time. I think they moved up from 737,000 up to 830 or so. So that was a pretty big pump. And you can see once again another top over on the Bitcoin price. And what is interesting is at this moment in time, the active addresses are still moving up. Like I said, they're basically the same price as they were yesterday or a week ago when I last made my active addresses video. But what is interesting now is we have had a golden cross. So if history is any indication, and zooming out on this, when you normally do have these golden crosses, you can see this golden cross happened when we had 743,000 addresses active, and we literally moved up to 969,000. And what happened during that period in time from this low to this spike up? Well, you can see the Bitcoin price from this low was round about 61,000. The Bitcoin price starts to, all the active addresses start to spike up and then move down, and you can see this top correlates with a massive landslide back down to 46. And if we go through other golden crosses, you can see we had a golden cross here. The price moved up for quite some period in time, and when we had this golden cross, initially we did move down. It is good to note that sometimes you do move up into them, but after you have the top on the active addresses, when the top comes in and you start to move down, the Bitcoin price moves down after the active addresses spike. And we can go through and point to basically every single time this has happened. You have a golden cross, the price might move up slowly into it, but then once you top on the active addresses, you move down. So why is this important, and why do the active addresses correlate to what's happening in the Bitcoin price? Well, it makes sense when you think about it from a fundamental perspective, because let's say, for example, We're in a bull run right now. The Bitcoin price is going up. A lot of people like myself don't have their cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin in an exchange. They have it in a hardware wallet like a Ledger, a Trezor, pick your poison, you name whatever you've got. But the point of the matter is, if people want to sell their Bitcoin towards the top, and this is what we've seen time over time over time. This is why we have these tops, because at 20,000, enough people sold to make it a top. Down here at 60,000, enough people sold to make it a top. And over here at 69,000 as well, you can see active addresses come in and we move back down. Why is this? Well, in my opinion, the active addresses are moving up because people are sending their cryptocurrencies to exchanges like Coinbase or Binance, KuCoin. Like I said, pick your poison, it doesn't matter which one. So people would be sending their Bitcoin cryptocurrencies from hardware wallets, or maybe just another exchange. Maybe you get a better rate on crypto.com and you've got your crypto in Binance, so you send your Bitcoin over from Binance to Coinbase or crypto.com, whatever one you want, like I said, and you're creating an active address because you are now active in the network as either a sender or a receiver. So it makes sense to think of it like this: when the Bitcoin price comes to top, a lot of people are going to sell, and to sell they obviously have to have an active wallet. You can't sell with an inactive wallet because then you just wouldn't be doing anything, you'd be sitting on it. If you are sending cryptocurrency from one exchange to another, or whether you're selling it to Coinbase, Binance, whatever you're doing, you are creating an active address. So this is why we see when the active addresses pump, the Bitcoin price, or at least when the active addresses top, then Bitcoin normally tops as well. And the active addresses roll down because everyone's already sent their cryptos over to exchanges to sell and liquidate. And then as people are liquidating, as their addresses are kind of cooling down, you get this cool off phase where the price and the price action moves down with this. Now, I'm pretty much going to wrap up the video on this. I did just want to give you a quick heads up. And in my opinion, this is, it's not a good sign in the short term, but it can be a sign that we could be coming for a bottom very, very soon. So if I overlay this as well, you can see that there's a pretty strong correlation. It's kind of hard to line these ones up, but you can see there's a pretty strong correlation to spikes in the price, spikes in the active addresses. They both move down at the same time, and as they start to euphorically move up, the Bitcoin price moves up. It's a slower reactor. You can see the active addresses definitely move before the price does, and most of the time the price tops out just after the active addresses do. Which makes sense because people need a little bit of time to, have it sent and then sell. But like I said, I don't want to go crazy on this, but you can see every single time price moves down after both of these spike, price moves up, both of these spike, price actually tops out before the active addresses here, and every single time they're always very, very correlated to the teeth. Now, like I said, Bitcoin active addresses, to sum up, it does look like we are going up. I do imagine we are probably going to come up a little bit higher and top out before we see this capitulation coming down, and then I think the bottom is going to be in for Bitcoin as the active addresses are going down. Now, the bullish cross that we've just seen, or the golden cross rather, is not the only cross that we're seeing at this moment. So I'm going to talk about that now just for a minute or so. If you do want to know how Bitcoin golden crosses and death crosses work, or how to get these up on your chart over on TradingView, if you head over to my YouTube channel, if you click on playlists, and then you'll find there's an educational series in here with 17 videos. I have a video in there called Bitcoin death crosses and golden crosses explained, and I'll teach you basically everything you need to know, and there's a bunch of other gems as well in that educational series. So if you want to go check that out, make sure to go check that out on my channel. But that being said, the death cross is basically the inverse of a golden cross. And one more example of a golden cross, which obviously went bullish because this is in the name. You can see the dollar quite recently had a golden cross from 91 all the way up to 105. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the fact that we're seeing the opposite. We're actually seeing a death cross over on a lot of the stock markets. Now, you can see every single time we have these death crosses, this is where the 50 moving average on the daily moves below the 200, and every time you can see big capitulation. Quite recently we've had one as well, and we have moved down into this, but some asset classes have only recently had a death cross. Now, for example, the SPX, SPY, they had it a couple of months ago. So did the Nasdaq. But some of these, if I come over to the stocks, you can see Apple is literally in the midst of a death cross right now. In fact, I believe this happened yesterday. I was checking this out yesterday and it hadn't quite happened. I wanted to wait for some of these to cross over before I made a video about this, but Apple has crossed on a bear cross, and you can see immediately we are moving down into this death cross. Tesla literally a week ago, 5 days ago or so, had a death cross. We moved up into the death cross and then broke down from the death cross. This is really not a good sign. And also Coinbase. Coinbase was a living death cross, because as soon as the 200-day loaded in, as soon as it loaded in, bang, death cross. That's all that Coinbase has known. Netflix as well had a death cross long ago, and you can kind of see, these do not have to be a bearish implication just like that. Just like golden crosses, they don't have to break bullish straight away. Just like here, you saw a golden cross and we literally trended sideways for ages before we started to move up a bit. And here as well, we had a death cross and we actually broke bullish into the death cross. After we had the death cross, it solidified. We literally did nothing but went sideways for a month, and then, as the death cross finally starts to settle in, you have this mass capitulation over on Netflix. Now, I can't attribute the death cross alone to Netflix's demise. Netflix has been doing some pretty bad business decisions recently, which has basically wrecked them. I believe that's all the death crosses we've got in the market. Silver, quite interestingly, silver is having a death cross. Gold is quite a way away from a death cross. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's about it. Ethereum had a death cross a long time ago, and I've already checked out the others, the total crypto market cap, and these are all good. So just a quick update on the golden crosses and the death crosses. Stock market had a death cross. It looks like the stock market wants to move down. Bear in mind the dollar is still pretty strong, and we have found support on the 50-day moving average. So the dollar, like I always say, don't count the dollar out until it starts massively capitulating, because we're still holding support. But yeah, like I said, the main takeaway from this is that we have just had a bullish golden cross over on the active addresses. We're going to see how this plays out. I think this is going to play out bullish for the active addresses, meaning the active addresses are likely to increase in the next coming weeks. I still do think that Bitcoin has a good likelihood of heading up to 34,000. So if I had to guess what was going to be happening in the next 2 weeks, I think we are going to move up to at least 34,000. What I think is going to happen after that, if I pull back this chart, I think the active addresses are going to come up after we've spiked, and then I think we're going to top on the active addresses. The active addresses are going to move down. Bitcoin is obviously going to follow, because I've always the active addresses top, Bitcoin price action moves down. But then what I think is going to happen is, like I said, Bitcoin can have this relief rally for the next 2 weeks. The next FOMC meeting is on the 15th, and a lot of people think we're going to break bullish after this. I'm of the opposite opinion. I think we're going to break down to 22k on the next FOMC meeting, and I don't know why a lot of people think we are going to break bullish into this. This was the last FOMC meeting. The Fed increased the interest rates by 50 basis points, and Bitcoin literally landslided like 36% in a week or so. So I'm telling you, if the Fed increases the interest rates again, at least in my opinion, I think they are. And what do I think is going to happen after the Fed increases the interest rates on the 15th? I think Bitcoin is going to move down to 22k. We'll see how that plays out. Like I said, just a quick update over on the active addresses. As always, if you did want to learn more about golden crosses and death crosses, just head over to my playlist in the educational series, and there's a bunch of hidden gems in there that will help you out. So that's all I've got for you today. Hope you enjoyed today's content and you found it valuable. As always, Cowboy out. Peace.